Hi everybody, long time no see. If you don't know me, my name is Kirsten and I have been here on YouTube only since May. I did my first video following my attendance at the Interview with the Vampire Season 2 premiere party in New York City. And I proceeded to then start doing some recaps, reviews of season 2 as episodes were on. I've been going back and watching some of the videos. I don't like watching myself under any circumstance, but I want to get better. And I had no idea what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I feel a little more confident going into it, I think. I say that as I feel very nervous filming for the first time in a while. But I do have more ideas on where I want this channel to go and the things that I want to do with it as we are entering this hiatus leading into the eventual season 3 that is on its way. But to start off this video very quickly, I'm gonna introduce myself a little more thoroughly, and then I want to talk about the season 3 teaser that we have from Comic-Con. I might watch the bloopers and just giggle at them a lot if you guys want to giggle at the bloopers with me. And then I want to talk a little bit about what we know so far about season 3, which is not a lot. So don't expect a ton out of that. And then I do want to give hesitantly some of my season 3 predictions. But I'm going to start off with talking a little bit about myself, introducing me and Interview and the Vampire Chronicles all around. Just to kind of get that story out there, just so people know where I'm at regarding the Vampire Lestat and the upcoming season. So I'll make the long story short. My history with the Vampire Chronicles goes back to birth. I am named after Kirsten Dunst and Interview with the Vampire, and I've known this my whole life. So I was the weird kid in school who, when you had to do those icebreaker fun fact things, I was always like, I was named after a vampire movie, which was not a cool thing to say, and you don't make friends when you say that. It's definitely not the way to gain popularity. I don't recommend it. But I've known about it my whole life, Interview with the Vampire, and I was an avid reader as a kid, but I avoided really scary things. I don't like super scary. I don't like blood, and that was always the main issue. So I liked vampires, but I liked them in the very childlike sense. I think the most iconic sort of vampire desire thing for me growing up was, they weren't even vampires. It was the Hex Girls on Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. And they had vampire fangs because the one girl's dad was a dentist, and they were mostly witches, but they had the fangs. I wanted to be Thorn so badly. I thought she was the coolest person in the entire world. And I wanted vampire fangs because Thorn had vampire fangs. So I should have vampire fangs, like the Regina George of vampires. You know, that was Thorn for me. But eventually I hit my teens and decided it was time to venture out into the more scary world. And I remember I was 15-ish. No, it was definitely 15. And I found the trailer for Interview with the Vampire, the movie. And one of the scenes that's in the trailer is the scene where, people that have seen the movie, you'll know, Lestat's killing that prostitute, and she's got like blood all down the front of her dress. Oh, it made me like queasy, and I was like, I don't know if I can do that. But I decided I can do the book at least, because the book doesn't have actual blood for me to look at, and that'll be fine. So I got my hands on a really old, used copy of Interview with the Vampire. I still have it, but the pages are falling out of it. It's a mess. And I went to a park that was kind of near where I lived with a coffee, and I took a bunch of aesthetic pictures because that's what a 15-year-old girl does when she goes to read a book at a park. And I remember it was October 4th, which is really funny now because that's Anne Rice's birthday and Louis' birthday, and it feels very meant to be that I read it on that day. But I sat on the bench that was at that park with the intention of reading for like an hour. And I sat on that bench for 6 hours and I didn't move, and I devoured Interview with the Vampire.
Get off that bench, brother.
And I know so much of it went over my head. I was 15. And you can be a really smart 15-year-old, and the themes of Interview are going to escape you to some extent. But I remember I felt so much. I felt a lot like Daniel, who I know isn't named in the book at the time. But I felt like Daniel at the end. Like that couldn't be it. There had to be more. And I just like, it was life-changing. And I went home and I begged my mom to take me to Family Video so we could rent Interview with Vampire so I could go home and watch it. And she reluctantly took me to Family Video and got me Interview with Vampire, and I went home and watched it and devoured it. And the rest is kind of history. I was sold. Well, okay, let me clarify. I was sold. And then naturally I was like, well, I have to read the next book. The next book. This bad boy, Vampire Lestat. First of all, it took me forever to get a good copy of Vampire Lestat. I was ordering from this used bookstore at the time, and they were in like their baby stages, and I think they were still trying to figure out, like, I don't know, just their setup on their website and everything. So the first copy of Vampire Lestat that I got came, and it was in full French. And I don't speak French. So I was like, well, that's not gonna work. So I ordered another one, and it came in large print. And so it was like this one is this big. It was like triple this. I'm like, I'm not reading that either. So I ordered again, and they still sell this at the stores because I saw it at Barnes and Noble like 2 months ago. It's a black and red cover, and the book is like this big, and it's because it has Interview, Vampire Lestat, and Queen of the Damned all in it. I still have it, but a friend has had it for like a year, which means I'm not getting it back. But I did keep that one. I got rid of the others. Finally, I ordered once more, and I got this copy, which is a first edition, but it's pretty tore up. Like, it's pretty stained on the sides. I have another first edition over on the shelf over there that's in much nicer condition. But I'm reading this one right now as I'm working through some things. And so I finally get my hands on a copy of Vampire Lestat. And I go to start reading. I don't know why I'm reading this because I know I'm going to hear it in a minute. Downtown Saturday Night in the 20th Century, 1984. I am the Vampire Lestat. I'm immortal, more or less. The light of the sun, the sustained heat of an intense fire. These things might destroy me. But then again, they might not. So,
These things might destroy me.
So I loved Interview with the Vampire, and I loved the way Louis spoke, which is a very controversial take. A lot of people do not like Louis. They find him very whiny in the book. I don't relate. I love Louis. But I went to read this and I was like, what's happening? Like, I knew it was a different narrator, but like, what's happening? Where's Louis? And I think I read about 8 pages and I shut Vampire Lestat, and I was like, I can't do this. And I just kind of had to resign myself. I was like, I'm done. I'm 16 at this point, and I'm like, no, like, I'm okay. And I have a friend, she's older than me, and she's old school Vampire Chronicles. And I told her, I'm like, I can't read this book. And she's like, Kirsten, you gotta read Vampire Lestat. I promise you have to read Vampire Lestat. It's so worth it. And I'm like, I don't know, like, where's Louis? Like, the whole time I'm just like, where's Louis? I miss him. She's like, I promise, like, just read it. I promise, it's so good. So about 6 months later, I was like, okay, let's try this again. And so I reread Interview because I wanted to. And then I got Vampire Lestat. and I pushed myself through the first like 15 pages. And it's so good. And it was so different than what I was expecting. And then the beginning part makes so much more sense and feels, it's actually very, like, I feel like the beginning's so sad once you've read the whole book. Like, there's just an absolute devastation to it. And yeah, I fell in love with the Vampire Lestat, the book and the character. I will always classify Interview as my favorite of the Vampire Chronicles. And I will always love Louis de Pont-du-Lac more than I will love life itself. But this book and Lestat himself, they're unbeatable. And just a wonderfully complex book, a wonderful hero journey. And I'm so excited because it's finally going to be on our screen. I've been thinking a lot about Vampire Lestat. I have a friend who's reading it for the very first time. She's a show fan, and she read Interview during season 1. Now she's on her way through Vampire Lestat. She's a little over halfway through at this point, at least last time we talked, which was like a day ago. And I've just been thinking about the wolves, and I've been thinking about Magnus, and I've been thinking about the most horrific scene in the book, which is Armand. I've been thinking about Gabrielle, and just, I'm so excited that it's like coming to the screen, and that we're gonna see all of this stuff that's never been on the screen before finally brought to life. But before we even talk about what is within the pages of this book, we have to talk about the little season 3 teaser that we got at Comic-Con this year. Because, listen, I knew they were gonna do something. You don't go to Comic-Con and not do something. But I was expecting like maybe like a casting announcement, like they were gonna bring out who's playing Gabrielle on the stage, or they were gonna bring out who's playing Marius on the stage. No, they fully had a trailer ready. What? That was wild. And I think what kills me is I couldn't even process it, because the blooper reel they showed first, and I was in the middle of the blooper reel when all of a sudden everyone was like, just season 3. I was like, guys, I hadn't even gotten through the bloopers. So, and then I flew to Italy the next day. And so I'm like on a plane and I can't even process it. And I'm like wandering around Rome, sweating to death, having heat stroke half the time. And I didn't even get a process that this happened. And I'm going to be fully transparent. I have only watched the trailer once. And it was the night that it aired. I've seen GIFs and clips and things from it, so it's not like it's completely escaped me. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Tumblr, I'm on Instagram, it's everywhere. But I've only actually sat down and watched it once. And I'm gonna say something really embarrassing. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this on the video or not. When I was going back and rewatching some of my videos, because I'm trying to make sure that I'm improving and seeing what I was doing wrong, which was frankly most things all the time, I realized that like I don't talk about Lestat a lot, and I don't talk about Sam Reid a lot. In full transparency, it's because like I get real flustered, and I'm trying to like come across like I'm put together, and I'm really not, like, at all. When I was at the premiere, the Sam Reid arrived first when I got there, at least. I think Delaney might have been there already. I don't really remember. I'm not even saying words right. I don't really remember. Sam Reid got there and I just proceeded to like turn and face the brick wall for like 5 minutes. So this season's gonna be really hard. So I can't watch the trailer because I'm like, don't look at me. And like listening to the song, I'm slowly doing exposure therapy to it, where like I listen to a little bit at a time so I don't get all like about but I will upload. I did record my first ever listen to Long Face, which was on the plane to Rome. I lucked out. I had a whole row to myself. And so I downloaded the song so I'd have it just in case. And then when I realized I had nobody in my row, I was like, well, I'm gonna do a silent reaction to this, which is fine. So I'll upload that. It's on my Instagram already, but yeah, anyway. So I've only watched the trailer one time, but we're gonna watch it again. And I'm gonna react kind of as it goes. I might have to just hide my face. I don't really know how this is gonna fly, but let's watch the season 3 teaser video of the Vampire Lestat before we get into what we know about season 3 and some of my season 3 predictions.
Well, the cars from the car has been on the line.
I'm so normal about this.
Hey, look, if you want, I can have somebody knock on the window. I think he... What? You think what?
The Mark Johnson, like the meta, the fourth wall, I don't...
Do we have insurance for homicide?
I'm assuming this is like Larry.
Don't worry.
That's my assumption.
That's him.
The fake blood in the goblet is great.
Okay, let's go.
Oh wait, I have to pause it already. I'm really normal about it, in case you're wondering. God, how long is that? Oh my God, it's 4 minutes. I'm not gonna survive season 3. Never mind, I'm just gonna keep playing.
Hi, I'm Mark Johnson. I'm the executive producer. We talked on the phone a couple of times. We're really excited about the
I don't remember you.
documentary. Okay.
Hey man, thanks for the tickets.
That looks
last
like this
night.
jacket
Great
that
show.
Damiano from Måneskin wore one time. I have something to say about Måneskin, actually a lot to say about Måneskin regarding all this, but that's a different story.
Do I look like I need you?
The Christine throw in.
There's a goblet on the table.
You don't like the goblet? Can we get rid of the goblet, please? Thank you.
I'm not looking at the screen.
Sound, I hope you don't mind. The camera we're going to be using is called the Teratron. I'll be sitting here, but you'll
Yeah,
see
I
my
can show
face
you.
in the camera. Like, so, it's like we're talking to each other, and you don't have to just stare at an empty camera lens.
Your sound man is dehydrated.
We'll get him. some
Looks like he's gonna eat that guy. I think he should eat that guy. When I was first watching this, I like couldn't comprehend that was Daniel. Like I know the voice, but I was like, that's not real. I need to go back to the clapperboard thing.
I see you have my book there. What do you think of... I'm sorry. Excuse me. Give me a second here.
Daniel, are you okay?
I am the Vampire Lestat. I'm immortal. More or less. The light of the sun. The sustained
Only he cannot make this sound stupid to me. I'm
These things
pissed.
might destroy me, but
I'm still mad about it.
then again, they might not.
I don't like that we're making eye contact, so. I've told you, exposure therapy to the song is working. The Vampire Lestat returns. Daniel Hart. We have things to talk about, Daniel Hart.
What a long face, my pretty baby. I've got a long face. Come appraise me, bring your long stakes. That doesn't faze me. I'm an actor in my makeup. I get fatter when we break up. What does it matter who I take her? Another face, another year, another place. Another tear, pick up the pace, rack up the fears. Now I'm having fun.
I'm really normal about it. I'm so normal about it. Okay, wait, no, I gotta click on something. I need to see something that's actually important. Hold on. Yeah. Where's the... Is it right here? Okay, no, I need that. Okay, the clapperboard. Okay. Okay, so... Are these numbers significant? 2256580. Like, does that mean anything to us? Do we know? We have the logo, which I love the logo. I'm obsessed with the logo, actually. Vampire Lestat, Daniel Malloy, Jay Feldman, Armand Told the Truth. What is that? What else? Obviously, I know a lot of commentaries that were made on the choker looking like the slit throat, which is a vibe. I'm not a fan of the chartreuse color, just in general. Like, on anybody, I need it to go. No. Like, I'm not like a yellowy kind of gal anyway, though. That was so much that was not supposed to happen at Comic-Con this early. Oh my god. Okay. So, what's going on in this trailer? I don't know. I say this like I have any idea. So, clearly, obviously, Daniel Malloy, our newly turned fledgling vampire boy, is somehow gotten in contact with Lestat, which is a terrifying combo. And they're doing a documentary? A mockumentary? Like, what are we looking at here? Okay, the questions. The questions that this raises more than anything. First of all, I need a pen. I need pen and paper. Where's my pen? Okay. Gonna write this down because it's very important. First of all, the book. That's the first thing. Because, so the whole premise of this book is that Lestat wakes up and he reads Interview with a Vampire after it's been published. And it's been published as if it's a work of fiction, but obviously any vampire reading it and anyone that knows Louis and etc. is like, Louis, this really happened, what is going on? And Lestat is particularly, one, dismayed on how he is portrayed in Interview with a Vampire, but also he believes that there's stuff that he should have told Louis, and there's things that he wants to tell him. So this entire book is for Louis. Like, the entire writing of this is intentionally made for Louis. Now, why is this questionable when it comes to... Why is this questionable when it comes to the... Okay, so the interview... As we know, the 1973 San Francisco interview never finishes, unlike in the book, because I also have this. If anybody wants that ever, you should get it because gorge. The interview never finishes in the show. Daniel pisses Louis off to the point where Louis attacks him right around the time that they're planning to kill Lestat. Like, they haven't even gotten to that yet, but when all the chaos occurs and everyone I know wronged me. So the book never gets published. The interview never finishes. Louis brings Daniel to Dubai to finish this interview, to finish the project boyish youth prevented us from finishing. And then the book is published. And personally, if the book is published exactly as how this interview goes down, I don't see why Lestat would be angry or even like really dismayed about it, because personally, like, Lestat's gonna come out looking really good by the end of this book, because yes, you have everything at the beginning, but then you have what occurs that we watched and witnessed throughout season 2, which ultimately leads into Armand is like the big villain of the story, and like Lestat, while he's made tremendous mistakes in his life, was not the main villain. And at the end, you know, he and Louis found forgiveness of some kind with each other. They found time to mourn as parents and time to look at the mistakes that they've made to one another and accept that they're beyond that. I can't talk about the finale still, whole thing. So I don't see Lestat being angry about it, unless, and this gets into sort of part of the predictions, unless the Talamasca has done something, and which, like, why, but also why not. So Raglan James says something to Daniel in season 2 about wanting Daniel to publish the book, and then talking specifically about like the Talamasca editing and doing work with things beforehand, and so they would rather like he just do it himself. But if the Talamasca does edit it, the Talamasca does something, it potentially could be changing things. And Louis hasn't read the book yet. The season 2 finale, Louis has it sitting on his like to read pile, and Daniel's like, that's what you said last month. So if Louis hasn't read it, and if Lestat has, and it does deviate from what happened, or if it's been severely edited or something, sure, Lestat's gonna be angry. And want to clear some things up like he does. And also, yeah, there's things that he wants to tell Louis. I think especially in the show, like, that he wants to tell Louis more than ever. So yeah, that's a whole thing. Like, why exactly are we doing this? The documentary style's wild. I love it. It's very fitting. Very fitting for Lestat to just be on camera a lot. That makes sense for him. God, what else is going on in here? Yeah, only Sam Reid can make me not hate that monologue. Like, why does it sound good now? Shouldn't sound good now. Him choking Daniel, really showing off some power, which I think the power thing is going to be, that's also part of my predictions, which I should just get into in a second. Lestat's lawyer, she's in the books. She's mentioned like a handful of times, but I love that she's going to be in there. That woman's probably exhausted. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about season 3. What do we know so far? Not much. The general gist is that season 3 filming is supposed to start November 30th. Originally when I saw the November 30th date, I thought that felt a little late with holiday season and stuff coming up like immediately around the corner. But if you look at the season 1 filming schedule, it's not that much different from when they started then. So, makes sense. We have 4 locations that have been listed as of now for filming. We don't know when, and we don't know whatever. Ones are really vague, and then the other ones are very specific cities. So they will be in Prague again, which is where most of season 2 was filmed. They will be in Paris again, which I'm assuming will kind of be like how season 2 was, which is they only went to Paris for like a week, 2 weeks to film like iconic scenes that could only be filmed on Parisian location. Sort of like the scene in season 2 episode 6 when Louis is trying to convince Armand that they should turn Madeline. That scene's filmed at Sacré Coeur, I think, and like you needed to have that backdrop. So Paris again. New Orleans is listed. I'm really crossing fingers that we're going to see more of New Orleans than I expect, and I'm hoping to see more of New Orleans just in general. And I know the cast and crew really like New Orleans, so selfishly for them, I'm hoping for that too. And then Scotland has been listed as a location. No specific cities, just Scotland. I'm curious about Scotland. Yeah, that's what we know about filming. As of yesterday, September 2nd, there was somebody added as a stunt man to Interview with a Vampire who has significant training in sword fighting. So wolves, I'm really thinking wolves. My god, we're gonna see Sam Reid with a sword and I'm gonna black out this season. It's gonna be a mess. What else do we know? Not much. We have no casting for Gabrielle yet. We have no casting for Marius. There is a man who, I need to find him. I haven't looked too crazy into it because until I get confirmation of anything, I don't really dive too far. But there's an actor, an older gentleman who looks like he would be really great Marquis de Liancourt, aka Lestat's father. I don't know if that's what he's gonna be or if he's even in it. I think he looks like he would be really good for that. Yeah, I don't know though. I'm gonna look more into that one before I make any definite statements on it. Cast is all coming back as far as we know in general. Obviously Sam Reid will be Lestat again, Jacob Anderson as Louis, Assad Zaman as Armand, Eric Bogosian, Daniel. I'm like 99.99999% sure that Delaney will be back as Claudia in some capacity. Yeah, Joseph Potter as Nicki. I'm sure there's other people. I think they need to bring Ben Daniels back just as someone, just for fun, because I miss him. But yeah, that we don't know a lot right now. Daniel Hart, I think, is actively working on some music, but he's not working with Sam right now. At least according to his like most recent Reddit Q&A that he just did. We know the music influences going into Vampire Lestat is this very extensive list, which does include Roddy Ritchie. And everyone giggles every time it's mentioned. It's very cute. Yeah. So let's get into season 3 predictions. I say the word prediction very hesitantly because, I gotta adjust my hair. I say predictions for season 3 very hesitantly because I had predictions for season 2, and yeah, a handful were right or definitely on the right track. But I was very wrong about a lot, and I feel much more confident in my knowledge of Interview with a Vampire than I do in Vampire Lestat. So I don't feel confident in saying anything that I'm gonna say right now. I think everything I say has basis, but these writers are incredibly intelligent and way smarter than me, and they're also a team of people, and I'm just this one girl that's read these books and screams about them on a daily. So I'm not exactly, I'm gonna be the best. So here are a list of some of my predictions. The first one, this isn't even like a prediction. This is like I think, I have nothing to back this up. I think we're gonna get 10 episodes. hear me out. Why do I think 10 episodes? I don't know. I don't think Vampire Lestat needs to be split into 2 seasons, which I know sounds a little crazy because here's Interview, this bad boy, and here's Vampire Lestat. And it's like, okay, they split this into 2 seasons. Shouldn't they split this into 2 seasons? No. Because the importance of making Interview 2 seasons is several things. But the main one is that, so the Vampire Chronicles is made up of 13 books. Interview with the Vampire, Vampire Lestat, Queen of the Damned, Tale of the Body Thief, Memnoch the Devil, The Vampire Armand, Merrick, Blackwood Farm, Blood and Gold, Blood Canonical, Prince Lestat and the Realms of Atlantis, and Blood Communion. Out of those 13 books, Vampire Lestat, Queen of the Damned, Tale of the Body Thief, Memnoch the Devil, Blood Canonical, Prince Lestat and the Realms of Atlantis, and Blood Communion are like predominantly or entirely Lestat's point of view. And the only books that aren't are Interview with the Vampire, which is Louis' point of view, Vampire Armand, which is Armand's point of view, Merrick, which is told by David Talbot. Louis in it a lot, but it's told by David Talbot. Blackwood Farm, which is Quinn, Blood and Gold, which is Marius, and that's it. So Lestat is a very fleshed out existing character, and the rest of the characters lack some depth, lack some plot, lack some just general storytelling elements because Anne was so very focused on Lestat. The show is very clearly much more of an ensemble, thank God. Not that the Lestat show wouldn't be great in any other circumstance, but look at the characters that we have, look at the material that we have. To not utilize it to its fullest extent would be crazy. So we're looking at much more of an ensemble here. And so to establish these other characters, to establish Louis as a character that can exist outside of Interview with the Vampire, to establish Claudia as like a long-standing, recurring, haunting character, to establish Armand a little bit more in the like initial story of everything, to give Daniel this entire background that doesn't really exist. You had to flesh out these characters, but you still also had to flesh out Lestat so people cared by the time season 3 comes around. So now we're in season 3 and we know these characters. We are very established with Louis. We're very established with Claudia, with Armand even. I mean, Armand, there's still a lot. And Daniel's like, you know, fledgling vampires. There's a whole other story to go with there. But in general, these are very fleshed out characters. And so we have a lot to work with. So going into this now, we don't necessarily need to be doing a ton of like character background work outside of giving Lestat's past, establishing Gabrielle, and the introduction of Marius is going to be interesting. So yeah, I think 10 episodes because I think we need more than 7 or 8 to do Vampire Lestat, but I don't think it needs to be split into 2 seasons. So I'm predicting. No proof. No, I have nothing other than dreams going off that one. Okay. Episodes. Next one. Rockstar Lestat. Couple things. Okay. First one is that if you're looking at this book, the actual Rockstar portion is like total maybe like this much of the book. It's very little. And while I do think that there's going to be more, because I know Roland has said like we're getting like albums and we're getting like whatever, I don't actually think the show, like the episodes themselves, are going to be drenched in Rockstar stuff. I think the Rockstar persona is there to show us just how broken Lestat is. As always, he is performing. Lestat is kind of constantly performing. And the Rockstar persona is yet another performance. And outside of just, I think, not seeing it as much as maybe people are thinking, Rockstar Lestat, and this is true in the book too, but I think much more in the show, he exists to take the heat off of Louis. Louis has pissed off the vampire world, tremendously pissed them off. And the show even more so because, like, he's attached his name to it. They are kind of selling it like it's nonfiction, according to the way that Daniel talks on the talk show. And that's like a whole thing. And Louis pissed off the vampire world. And I think Lestat is like, yike. Okay, if I can also piss off the vampire world, they'll pay attention to me. They'll quit trying to kill Louis. I see this being a point of contention in Lestat and Louis' relationship, like in season 3, where Louis is gonna be like, I didn't ask you to fight my fight. Like, I got this. Like, if I wanted your help, I would have told you. And so it's gonna be like, what am I supposed to do? Just let them come kill you? And yeah, they're gonna go back and forth. It'll be a whole thing. Yeah. So the Rockstar, I think the persona will break pretty quickly in general. I think the show, the episodes themselves will not be a lot of Rockstar material. I think they're going to release music videos. I think they're going to release an album. I think they're going to have like clips that are interviews. And I think like, or from the looks of it, like I think like we're getting like a full Spotify account that's going to be the Vampire Lestat. Like, it's not going to be like Sam Reid as Vampire Lestat. It's going to be the Vampire Lestat. I think we're gonna get the Vampire Lestat doing like the Genius lyrics interviews. Like, I think it's gonna be wild. Yeah, like I just think like he's just gonna be like a real person. It's gonna be so crazy. I'm gonna have to explain this to people I know in real life who are gonna be like, Kirsten, why is your Spotify #1 artist this vamp? What does that mean? Like, what band is that? And I'm gonna be like, it's from my TV show. And they're gonna be like, no, it's not. It's gonna be a whole thing. We're gonna really fuck up my Spotify stats. Anyway, so Rockstar. Okay, I want to talk about Akasha for a minute. I want to talk about Magnus for a minute. So Magnus is the stats maker, and Akasha is the queen of the damned, the queen of the vampires, the mother of all vampires. And spoiler, so if you don't want to know things, the end of this book, Akasha comes for Lestat and kidnaps him, which leads us into Queen of the Damned. This season, here's my general really rough timeline. And by rough timeline, I mean like a couple things. I don't know how we're gonna divvy up like the past. I don't know how this is gonna work. My prediction is that Nicki's dead by episode 3 in the flashbacks. That's 1. 2, well, hold on, I'll have to come back to that. We will have Lestat officially like meeting Akasha in the flashback version, like as kind of like the midway through the season finale sort of thing. Like mid-season, he's meeting Akasha. And it will naturally, of course, end with him getting taken by Akasha. I don't know where the show is going with Lestat's past, specifically the timeline of it. In the books, Lestat is really young when kind of everything starts occurring. And when he's 20, and 20 or 21, either way, he runs off to Paris, and it's within like that 6 months that he gets turned into a vampire. Our Lestat in the show is 34, 35 years old when he's turned. So we're looking at a 15-year difference in terms of when Lestat is turned in the book versus the show. So we have 2, I think, like logical options here. The first is that Lestat stays in his village in Auvergne, France until he's in his mid-30s. Before then he runs away to Paris. Or Lestat runs to Paris still in his 20s and is a much more established and successful actor before he's turned into a vampire. I don't know where we're gonna go with it, because I feel like if he stays in the village, listen, I've thought about this since season 1. he would have to get married. Like, he's gonna have a wife. Like, I'm like 99% sure that if he stays there, if we keep him in France until he's in his 30s, before then he runs off to Paris, he's gonna have a wife. Like, you don't not get married. At that time, it's crazy. So I'm like, would he have a wife and then cause a scandal by running away with Nicki to Paris? Probably. However, then it's like, okay, or does he just build up more success in Paris as an actor? But then he says in the show he was only pretended to be an actor for 2 years. Maybe the first one's much more of an option. Because also, like, I mean, depending on when Magnus leaves the coven, like, I don't see Magnus waiting forever either. Yeah, I don't know. Either way. But I think whenever we see Magnus take Lestat, I'm trying to think of how this is going to work. Because you can't do it episode 1. Episode 1, I think episode 1 of season 3, like the flashback portion, is going to mimic in a lot of ways season 1, episode 1, in the sense of season 1, episode 1 really establishes the Pointe family. And I feel like season 3, episode 1 is really going to establish the De Leon course. We're going to, I think, get to know Lestat's brothers, his father, Gabrielle, who are much more fleshed out than Louis' family in general in the books, but we don't know a lot about his brothers. We frankly don't know a lot about his father outside of the abusive situation. Yeah. So I think those will mimic each other. So maybe Nicki is not dead until episode 4 or 5 of season 3 flashbacks. I'm also curious about like how much we're gonna have like the Armand flashbacks, because Armand's significant to a point. Armand's a mess. I'm one of the people that's in like I think Armand's lying a lot about everything with Lestat in the past, which is, I don't think, a super popular opinion. But I have my reasons for it. And it's not because I'm like, oh, but it's literally because, okay, the weirdest part of the season 2, episode 3, 1700s flashbacks, to me, is that Lestat is a major creator of the theater of the vampires, when in the books he's very adamantly against the theater. And I feel like that in itself is a lie. Frankly, the complete omission of Gabrielle also makes me not believe Armand, because like she's there for almost every single scene that they share together and everything. So I'm like, this is not real. There's no way this is real. Anyway, but going back to the main thing I was talking about, Magnus, Akasha, they're going to be mirrors of each other. The horror of Magnus is going to be completely mirrored in the same thing with Akasha. The difference there is that Akasha obviously has her own motives and her own plan and all these things that she wants to do, which are crazy. And so it's going to be its own horror, and I have things to say about Akasha and predictions for that, but that's another story. We're not there yet. I know people are going to think they're going to see a lot of Nicki and Louis parallels. I don't think so. I personally never really saw a ton of similarities between Nicki and Louis. Like, they're both sad. That's like it. But they're very different kinds of sad. And I actually think the parallels between Nicki and Claudia are going to be much more significant than Nicki and Louis. So I'm expecting a lot of Nicki Claudia parallels, which is, I know, is like a little weird, but like just in general, I think there's gonna be a lot between them. Obviously there's like general Nicki and Louis parallels, but I don't think they're significant, and I don't think that they matter. Louis is still the central character for everyone. because everyone's story revolves around Louis still. Lestat at the end of everything revolves around Louis. Daniel, everything with Daniel is still revolving around Louis. Armand stuff is still going to be revolving around Louis. So Louis is going to be central to every character's interaction still. Daniel being the one that's interviewing Lestat in this like little trailer, that's because of Louis. To some extent, somehow in some way, it's because of Louis. Armand and Daniel's relationship, I know it's been like teased and talked about and whatever, is still though central to Louis. And then like Lestat's entire like world is central to Louis, so Louis is still very central. I think he's going to play a significantly large role this season still. I'm so excited to see where he goes. Yeah, I think Louis is going to be absolutely imperative to everything happening. Like in terms of like the present, obviously the past stuff, Louis is not born yet, so like he can't really contribute much to it. But I think every single thing that we're watching from this present day, everything completely centered around Louis. So Claudia is going to significantly haunt Lestat this season. I think we're going to get some horrendously heartbreaking flashbacks to New Orleans, which I'm looking forward to on a very selfish level, but I'm gonna cry. I think we're going to get Lestat seeing Claudia around a lot, actually. I think at some point he will probably be visiting Dubai, depending on where Louis is. But I think he's gonna see Claudia's dress, and I think that's gonna be its own thing. I see Claudia still being really central as well to the storylines, particularly with Lestat and particularly with Louis, which makes sense. Also because of the season 2 finale, and Louis and Lestat's final interaction is at its core about Claudia. And so there's no way that you can keep them moving forward without her being a significant part of it. The last thing I want to talk about prediction-wise is about Louis and Lestat, because the babies. Okay. Louis and Lestat predictions. So I know people have talked about, like when I say people, cast, crew, writers, etc., about how like they can't stay away from each other, but they're going to be like dancing around each other in this very like, you know, kind of way. And a lot of this is popular fanon theory at this point, which we have to be careful with fanon theory, because fanon theory is, I think, what screwed a lot of us up in season 2. We had too much time to think and to make up our own ideas, all of us, because I did the same thing. My perception of Armand was very different than what ended up on the screen. So I'm trying, again, this is why I say hesitant on all of these predictions. But I think Louis and Lestat, I think they're gonna have like a friends with benefits-y situation going on. I think. Why? Because a word that's used a lot by writers and interviewers and everybody about Lestat and Louis is the word carnal. There's a carnality to their relationship, and I think the moment that like they're kind of together again, like it's gonna be so much. I don't think that they really know how to keep their hands off each other. I don't think they're really gonna know what to do, but I think they are both so like emotionally just stunted and messed up, and I think they both have like, I think Louis is doing a little bit better, but like some self-worth issues and like all this other stuff. And so I see them both being like, I'm not committing, I'm not doing that, like we're not ready. And so they're gonna be saying that they're really cool with this just like really casual relationship. And I got a couple of theories on what I think it's gonna look like and why I think it's gonna go the way it does. I think in the first like 2-3 episodes, I think we're gonna see them like kind of dancing around each other, probably like doing their thing as they do. But I think we're gonna see a lot of like Louis leaving. I think like a lot of like, he's pretty quick. He doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to whatever. I think he's out of there. And I think we see that there's no way that Daniel Hart wrote Longface without knowing at least some basics of what they have kind of planned. And so like that whole like second verse and going into like without a trace you disappear, give me some face, a souvenir, like all that crazy stuff. I think all of that is very clearly about Louis essentially just kind of being there and then like leaving. Like, I'm not here for the emotions, I'm not here for the whatever. And so Lestat is sleeping with other people, and Lestat is sleeping with groupies, and he's miserable, and it's just escalating. And then I think by like episode 4 or 5 there's gonna be some kind of confrontation. I don't know what that confrontation is gonna be, but there's gonna be some confrontation about it. And they're gonna be like, no, then fine, we're not sleeping together anymore, we're not anything, we're done. They're gonna be really dramatic about it, and they're gonna get out of there, and they're gonna be like, nah. And then they're gonna learn after like an episode or 2 that that's like impossible. And then they're gonna reunite, and they're gonna have this absolutely like emotional breakdown, and it's going to lead to them like fully getting back together. I think like episode 7, again, I'm working on 10 episodes. So I think episode 7 and 8 and 9, we're gonna see this like very like love sick, like we love each other, we have accepted this, we're having a great time, and like they're gonna be dealing with just like other people's conflicts and other things, and like Lestat's concerts, and like the problems are gonna seem a little minuscule, but the problems are gonna start hinting already, like, oh wait, there's something bigger brewing, there's something bigger brewing. And by episode 8, you're gonna be like, there's something on the horizon and it's bad and I don't know what it is. And then by episode 10, Akasha comes, she snatches Lestat away and destroys their little happy bubble that they had for precisely like 3 days. That's my Louis and Lestat prediction, because that leads us into a lovely season 4 where Louis and Lestat are going to be separated for most of season 4. Like, Lestat's off killing thousands of people via Akasha. And I think from like a television storytelling perspective, I'm not in the industry. I don't know anything. This is just educated guesses, okay? But from like a television storytelling perspective, you have this couple that you introduce in season 1, and they're in love, but everything goes wrong. So then you do season 2, and season 2 shows that they're still horribly, desperately in love with one another, but they have all these miscommunications and everything. And the season ends though with this understanding and forgiveness and reunion, and it's beautiful. Season 3, you show them kind of doing that dance, they get back together, you snatch it away. Season 4 is them fighting to get back to each other. And then finally like season 5, and it's like, okay, cool, now we can focus on other things because there's so much lore at our fingertips. And I predict the show only going for like 7 or 8 seasons total. So like have Louis and Lestat be together for season like 5 and 6 and 7 like completely, and just have them dealing with other stuff, I think would be lovely. So I'm not repeatedly watching the same relationship stuff recycle it. They're gonna have plenty of issues still. There's plenty of drama to had. Like, it's fine. That's my Louis and Lestat prediction for season 3. I want like 72 kisses in season 3 between Louis and Lestat. I don't want other people. Louis and Lestat, 73 kisses. I'm gonna tally them. Just keep going. Yeah. But should I watch the bloopers? I'm gonna watch the bloopers. Well, hold on, I should probably finish this first. So that's what I have for my season 3 predictions and what I know so far about season 3 filming. I will keep you updated as we learn things, as filming gets closer, if casting announcements come out, etc. The last things I want to do before I turn this off is I'm going to talk a little bit about what I want to do with this channel and how I'm going to be better about it. And how we're going to get through this hiatus together. Okay, 2 things actually before I turn this off. The first one is I want to talk really briefly about Måneskin, because I'm going to do a video on Måneskin because there's an interview with Levin where he's talking about Vampire Lestat and Måneskin. And so for people that don't know, I am a huge Måneskin fan. I discovered them in 2021 watching Eurovision, because I watch Eurovision for funsies a lot. And my go-to country is Italy because I love Italy. You know, and so like whenever I watch, I'm just like, yeah, Italy, I don't care. And I remember turning your Eurovision on and I was like, Italy's hot this year. And then they were good and they were so fun and I adored them, and they've taken over. They're like my #1 most listened to artist for the last couple of years. I'm in the point like 0.005% of whatever Måneskin listeners. It's a mess, right? My last concert that I went to for Måneskin, I was front row, barricade. And I sang with Damiano because he came down into the crowd and was like singing in Nome del Padre. And so I'm like this close, and I have these like videos of it, but it's so crazy. And then I was like, oh shit, he hates videos, and I like turned it off, but my friend was recording from far away. And so I am just saying that if you guys need someone front row at the Vampire Lestat concert, I'm really good at front row at the concerts. AMC, hit a girl up. I'm ready to sing with the lead singer. I've done it once, I'll do it again. But also just in general, and I know like I've seen people like they love to get like weirdly pretentious about like, I don't listen to Måneskin, I listen to real music or whatever. It's like, guys, we all have our thing, okay? I love Måneskin. And I think Måneskin is such a good base of Vampire Lestat stuff. And I know Carol Cutshall follows Måneskin, and she follows an account called Dress Like Måneskin. And I know that's because I follow an account called Dress Like Måneskin. And I see her like their stuff. And I am just really excited at the prospect of any kind of like Måneskin-esque, because Damiano is a fantastic frontman. He's charismatic, he's funny, he's sexy, like he's a wonderful front man, and he's a really great, I think, just look for Vampire Lestat in general. And I think also what's great about Damiano is like, and for like the Måneskin fans, like he's actually just like a nerdy little weirdo, like complimentary, fully affectionately, like little weirdo, like loves his cats and like all this other stuff, you know? And I think that sort of fits Lestat having this really crazy stage persona and video persona that's not really him, you know, at all. So I'm really excited at the prospect of like any kind of Måneskin-esque related things with Vampire Lestat. I think the costumes as well. I feel like some of the costumes are already that we saw in the little trailer are very Måneskin-esque already. But yeah, I love Måneskin. I love Vampire Lestat. I actually in 2021 on Tumblr made a post about how Damiano should dress as Lestat for Halloween. I did make that. I'll post, well, in my Måneskin video I'll post it. But I did make that post. So I've been on this train for a while. But that's the first thing. Second thing, okay, let's talk about this channel for a second. So we have a while probably until season 3, and we probably have a while until we have any super significant news for season 3. I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping that we have some news and some stuff. I mean, like, I think news-wise, yes, we're gonna get casting announcements and we're gonna whatever, but I think in terms of like clips and trailer, I don't know, like I'm very like, I don't really know what's happening there. So I would love to get through this hiatus with you guys and to just talk about this show and all of its, you know, depth and beauty and everything. I have a bunch of ideas written down. Some of them are much more like video essay-esque, which I don't know if I'm the right person to be doing video essays, but I'm gonna do them anyway and try to do my best. But like video essays, I'm gonna do some are like more fun and more like just stupid little whatever things. And one that I want to do, I'm trying to figure out how to do it. I think the best way would just be like waiting a little bit and then doing kind of a poll and following along there. But I want to do like a book club with this guy. Because I think we should read it together. I think we should just in general read it. I think you kind of have to read this one going into the next season. There's so much of Lestat's past is just insane and really fleshed out in this book. And so I think, okay, sure, maybe you don't have to read it, but I think the benefits of reading it would be significant, to say the least. So yeah, I do want to do a video series of reading the Vampire Lestat. And yeah, I'm gonna try to, my goal is, the goal is to have a video out every Wednesday. And the first series I'm gonna do, however, following all of this, is in fact going back to season 1. Because season 1 is now on Netflix. It went on Netflix August 19th. We've got an influx of fans, and while I can't necessarily do like reactions to season 1 because I've seen every episode like 37 times, or maybe more, I don't actually know. I have a lot to say about season 1. I feel like I have a really good grasp on season 1 and a good understanding on season 1, and I know a lot about that. I feel really confident, and I feel like I know a lot about that story in particular. So I would love to go back and really do these like in-depth looks at each episode. And so next week will be season 1, episode 1, the best episode in the entire world, in Throes of Increasing Wonder. And then kind of working our way through there. And if you want to keep up with some of that even more, over on my Instagram, and also on my Twitter, but it's a little more organized on my Instagram, I have been doing a season 1 throwback for the last couple weeks. It was supposed to be a week, and then like doing one episode alone took a week. So it's gonna be a while, but I'm currently finishing up my season, or my episode 2 little recaps, but sometimes it's just screenshots of the characters, like favorite shots of the character from the episode. I've been gathering reviews of each episode individually and compiling them from when like the episode first aired. Been doing favorite behind the scenes anecdotes, all sorts of just praising each individual episode of season 1, because season 1 is still just this incredibly important place in my heart, and I want to keep talking about it. But yes, once a week, Wednesday videos is my goal. Cross fingers, but don't quote me on it. I hate hiatus. It's so long without our vampires, and then I feel like we don't get them for very long because I feel like it just flies by. But I'm hoping that maybe if we go through hiatus together, it'll be a little bit more bearable and we'll be able to get through things. And so if you would like to stick along for the hiatus journey as we prepare for season 3, yeah, join me on Wednesdays as we explore the Vampire Chronicles world more, and as we get to familiarize ourselves a little bit more with our upcoming protagonist, Lestat de Lioncourt. But thank you for watching. Like I said, I hope everyone's been doing really well, and I will see you soon. But let's watch some happy little bloopers because they're so cute.
I'll try to be scary.
I'll try to be scary. Same.
That's it.
Like, this is just one scene. Like, do you know how long this takes for them?
Hey, Marcus.
Ben is so cute. Eric's a menace to society.
Okay, here we go.
The accent staying.
Shit.
Oh, like I know it's like for like their purpose, but it's so cute. I need to know what this dance is. Sam in this fucking chair, and it didn't even. I don't know. Did this take even make it into the show?
Leave here tonight, seeing the world. I pre-release. I need to be a bit back, a bit
So I tried to laugh at their things, and it's so cute. I don't know what's happening there. I need to know. Seriously. Seriously, he's really struggling with this chair, and I don't even think that made it into the episode.
I hate this chair. Sorry.
What?
Background action.
Yeah, I'm not even looking at you, babe. That's why we Hollywood people talk. You didn't know that?
There's like a specific right there. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
I'm sorry, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
There's no way that's the funniest thing you've ever seen in your life. There's no way.
I'm done. I'm going.
I know there's like 75 hours worth of blooper footage. AMC, give me things, I will sort through it. I will do this myself. God. Okay. That's so cute. I love the bloopers.